For decades now, Riverside has followed the same simple playbook. Cheap land, new freeways, bigger homes, capture families escaping from LA and Orange County. And for those decades, it has been perfect for all parties. But here's the truth most people aren't ready to hear yet. That model is officially breaking down. By 2026, Riverside isn't running out of land. It's running out of easy land, cheap communities, and affordable sprawl. Today, I will be breaking down why the old Inland Empire growth formula is no longer working, using real numbers and what that means if you're thinking about moving to Riverside or buying in the Inland Empire, or even possibly deciding where the next opportunity actually is. So stay with me because this shift is going to determine who wins and who gets priced out over the next 10 years. So before we get into that, my name is Justin King. I'm a local real estate agent, and this channel is all about helping people understand what it's really like moving to Riverside, living in the Inland Empire, and deciding where to buy before the rest of the market figures it out. Now, if you find that possibly helpful, hit subscribe as I do post videos like this weekly. If you know anybody that could get some value from this or that it may help out, please share this. It does help the channel grow, and I appreciate that immensely. Now, let's break down what's actually happening in Riverside, California. Now, section 1, we're going to call this the era of urban sprawl. For about the last 4 decades, Riverside has grown outward instead of upward. Now, since 1980, Riverside's population has nearly doubled, growing from around 170,000 people to over 323,000 people today. Zoom out even more, and Riverside County has exploded to roughly 2.45 million people. And that's Riverside County, not to be confused with Riverside City. Zoom out even more, and now projections are showing another 50,000 plus residents will be added before the end of this decade. That entire boom followed one formula. Push subdivisions outward, add freeway access, sell space cheaper than LA and Orange County, and it wasn't just Riverside. Places like Eastvale went from Dairyland to 70,000 residents in just a couple of decades. Corona grew past 150,000 residents. Temecula passed 110,000 residents, and none of that happened by accident. That was the Inland Empire sprawl machine running at full speed. Now this section we're going to call the predictable formula. This is section 2. Riverside didn't stumble into growth, it played a very specific role. It became Southern California's escape valve. For years, Riverside has grown at roughly twice the pace of Los Angeles, driven almost entirely by people trading smaller coastal-style homes for larger, newer Inland Empire-style housing. And in exchange, they would just accept the longer commute times to get to those jobs in LA and Orange County. For a long time, you could buy a small 4-bedroom home in the community of Orange Crest for far less than a small 2-bedroom and much older home in Anaheim or Irvine. Families were naturally following the freeway interchanges into cities and areas like Commute Valley, Moreno Valley, Paris, Beaumont, Lake Elsinore, and beyond. Because frankly, the math obviously made sense for them. But that math is changing fast. So here's why the model is breaking and where things are starting to crack. But in early 2026, which is when we're recording this, the median home price in the city of Riverside is hovering in the mid $600,000. And now in suburbs that were once considered affordable, like Eastvale, many homes are now pushing into the high $800,000 and more. Those $500,000 starter homes that people were drawn out here for the most part, they're gone, or from Riverside, you're heading about 45 minutes east into cities like Paris and San Jacinto. And at the same time, that land equation has absolutely flipped. That flat, cheap land that powered decades of growth, for the most part, a lot of it's already been built on. Now what's left, those areas like Lake Matthews, Woodcrest, Mead Valley, the land isn't as flat and usable, so it requires expensive grading, hillside infrastructure, water lines, sewer extensions, and years of environmental approvals. Not that it makes it impossible to deliver a true starter home at today's construction and financing costs, but it does add an extra layer of complexity. So builders are frankly stuck, and buyers are feeling that pinch. So now let's talk about the other ceiling that buyers are starting to hit, those commute times. In a lot of my videos, the pros, cons, commute always comes up as one of the biggest cons to Inland Empire cities. So now talking numbers and actual time, i.e. commuters are losing roughly 60 to 70 hours per year sitting in traffic. A Riverside to Orange County commute that once took 45 minutes can absolutely now take well over 90 minutes or even 2 hours during peak traffic times. Yes, those projects like the 91 Express Lane and the 7191 interchange help prevent total gridlock, but they're about relief, not expansion. They keep the system from collapsing. They don't unlock massive new land for sprawl. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, A lot of buyers are hitting what I call that commute ceiling. They're simply not willing to trade that 3-hour, sometimes 3-hour daily commute for more backyard time. Okay, so now where do we go next? You got two directions really. First one is going to be east. Cities like Moreno Valley, Beaumont, Banning will have land where builders can make numbers work in the mid 500s and low 600s, as I kind of mentioned earlier. And that's why the next wave of sprawl is shifting along the 60 and 10, not deeper into the Riverside Hills. So now second, you got vertical and infill. Across Southern California, including Riverside, zoning is changing. In areas like Arlington and the north side, it's often smarter to scrape an old strip center or outdated building and replace it with townhomes, mixed-use villages, or housing over retail than to run utilities into raw land. This is a fundamental shift in how Riverside grows. Okay, so this is where strategy absolutely matters. Neighborhoods like Orange Crest and Canyon Crest are now mature markets. Great schools, strong demand, very little vacant land. That usually means slower and steadier appreciation, not the explosive 20% growth years we saw during the unusual cycles. Meanwhile, the real upside often follows public investment. Smart money watches where billions are being spent: hospitals, universities, parks, and major redevelopment plans. A home next to a $1 billion hospital expansion, a new adventure park, or a major initiative like Riverside Alive, which we covered on our live a few weeks ago at depth, often has a completely different long-term trajectory than one in a city with no roadmap for jobs or amenities. Okay, so now here's the bottom line. Riverside isn't running out of land, it's running out of easy land. The era of buying cheap land, adding a freeway interchange, and selling $400,000 starter homes is coming to an end. The next decade will be won by buyers that are starting to understand that the next opportunity is shifted away from endless sprawl and toward redevelopment, public investment corridors, and strategic growth zones. If you are thinking about moving to Riverside or one of the surrounding cities in the Inland Empire, or deciding where to buy next, this is a conversation you need to be having before the rest of the market starts to wake up and see this. Now this brings us to the end, and if this did help you, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment, or answer this question for me in the comments. Where do you think Riverside grows next? So if you do want help breaking down Riverside neighborhoods or surrounding cities, want to look at numbers, long-term strategy, or really just a game plan, my contact information is below. And thank you again so much for watching to the end here. Anything I didn't cover, anything you'd like me to clear up, leave a comment below. I would love to make more videos like this. Again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.